How about that now? I think we've got audio now. I've been messing with my audio settings, so yeah, okay. I'm with you. Yeah, so we're having a bit of a heat wave here. Bit unusual for me to be on of a night time, isn't it? But you know, BBC, they will shut them down in the early hours. I'd thought they'd have shut it down at sort of like midnight, but you know, I think the idea is that they're going to let the last shipping broadcast forecast go out. I think that's the idea. So yeah, apologies for the lack of sound, but I've been messing around because I've got the SDR hooked up in behind here, all tuned into 198 kilohertz, so you can have a look at the signal. It's connected to an external aerial, so we're not going to have any of the interference that we've got on some of these. You can see we've got a massive, great row of radios to have a look at down through here, so we've got plenty to keep us going. And I don't know whether I can mix my audio with Radio 4's audio going in the background. I probably can. That's what I've been messing with. So there you are. Yeah, so apologies for the late one tonight, but out of my control, this one. I had it in my head that it was tomorrow, no, the early hours of Sunday morning. So my original plan was to go live tomorrow evening and then go into Sunday morning. But that was a total mess up. So apologies for anybody that heard my announcement on Radio Devon earlier that said I was going on tomorrow. Anyway, let's have a look. We've got quite a few in already, which is good news. It is a bit of a historic moment tonight, isn't it? So Bob's quite rightly saying like 90 years of broadcasting on 200 kilohertz 198, when many might be listening on the Beeb, chooses 1 a.m. Apologies if you don't make it. Yeah, good shape, Bob. Oh dear. So I've missed a few now. I've lost a few off the top. Andy B, how you doing, Andy? Yeah, it's in here. It's hotter than 23. I can tell you that now. It's a little small room. I've got no windows open. I've got all the cameras, computers, lights, everything on here, and it's baking. I've got a fan beside me that's chucking me a bit of air, which might keep me going. If not, you're going to hear a whacking great load of noise because I'm going to have to stick the aircon on. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll get on with it. So we got Andy B, Stephen Hall. Once visited Droitwich. I think it will be kept as a museum, won't it? Surely. I've lost loads of chat. I've lost absolutely loads. Where's it all gone? Let me see if it comes back if I hit it live. No, so apologies. I've missed a few people off because the chat's decided to refresh and kick you all off. Whee! Beer fountain. You'll notice I have a little pot of beer here. So this is our beer of the week, which is my own homebrew from my pinter. And in it is a very nice cold stout at the moment. And I can tell you what it is if I can find the app. It is Dark Matter Classic Stout. There you go. So I've got to click the buttons because literally it finished at 10 o'clock tonight. So it was able to be drunk from 10 o'clock. That's good. That's good timing, isn't it, really? It's almost timed to perfection, isn't it? I think it's something like 5.8 or it might be 6.2 or something. I'm not sure the strength of it, to be fair. But yeah, good stuff. So what I wanted to show you to start with was... Oh, thank you, Rob. Thank you very much, mate. I'll catch up with the chat. Let's do the chat first, actually. No, that's so rude of me. We've got Joe in, Bob's in, Andy B, Stephen Hall, Joe, I think I said, yeah, Bob. Ricardo's in. Hi, Ricardo. Rob Cross. Pat Jones. That's the opening of Channel 5. Tim's in. Michael Hyde. Corslug. Itchy head. Sharpie's in. Hi, Steve. Alex is in. Ionosphere. Steel City Stephen. Welcome in, Steve. Benji's in. Sharpie, yeah, we said hello to Sharpie. James Farley, hi James. Baz is in, hi Baz. Gio's in, how you doing, mate? You remember all of the Arctic Circle? Yeah, it's a radio a flotilla of radios. As, how are you, Andrew? Yeah, it's certainly got a bit of history, this transmitter, isn't it? The more you look into it, the more you realise how important it was. Les is in. Hi Les, how are you? Les can probably tell us a few transmitter stories, having worked on the local radio station aerials, etc. Andrew Ross, how are you? Newton Abbott, welcome in. Just down the road, almost. That's Rob. Thanks very much for the super chat, Rob. Wow, they're not going to sit on the shelf. We can make them work, can't we? Tom and Susie, how are you? I would have thought, I don't know what. Are we at the wrong time for our Australian friends today? Or will they be joining us? Are they waking up now? Or are they? I don't know. It's a lot of hours difference, isn't it? I had a. I'm not regularly on it. I just pop in and stick a WhatsApp message in from time to time, Andrew. To be fair, I usually have a go at the quiz in the morning before I go to work, and I did get interviewed by John Akers in the morning back in February. So I have been on there for an interview. I've not been invited back though. Anyway, cheers everybody. There's my homebrew. Very nice it is too. And it's ice cold, which is very nice. 8 a.m. in Brisbane. Ah, right, so they're probably just getting up. So you never know, we might have some of them come in later. Doesn't Radio 4 carry the... Yes, it does. It does, James. So there's lots of different things that the 198 signal has done over the years, or 200. No, as I say, when I was just doing a bit of reading up on it, I came across a video which I thought I would stick up on it. I wanted to really get hold of the owner of this channel just to say, look, you know, I'm going to show your video. Is that okay? But he's got no contact details on his channel. So let me go across to his channel now, and someone might know this chap. So this is going to be my station of the my channel of the week for this week. Let's pop you over. Now it's got Andrew Walmsley blogspot.com. Now I can't log into that because when I try and do it, it gets blocked. It'll probably work now. Oh, it's going to let me do it now, isn't it? Typical. It wouldn't let me do it earlier because it said it was possibly corrupt. But yeah, there we go. It won't let me log into it. NordVPN has blocked it for some reason. But yeah, I came across this channel, and this was the video that was playing, well, that got recommended for me to watch. It's a brief history. It's only a very short video, so I think I'll play that now. But this is the channel at Random Radio Jottings. Let's see if we can stick that in. Let's stick that in the thing. Ooh, let's paste that in. Dave Rhodes, how you doing, mate? So there you go. And the video that I want us to have a quick look at is a very quick video down here. It's only 3 minutes 47. I need to make sure that the external audio's on a minute. So let me stick the global audio on. I'm going to turn, I'll try my mic. Just let's see if that works. I'll shut up now. And we're going to play this one here.
This is the national program. The shipping forecast for the next 12 hours. This is the BBC Home Service.
This is London Port.
Strong forces of the 1st Allied Airborne Army were landed in Holland this afternoon.
Her London, BBC, sender til Danmark.
Good morning, everyone. This is the BBC night program on wavelengths of 1,500 and 261 meters. For the last time, Radio 2 brings you the shipping forecast. After this, we'll be handing you over to our colleagues on Radio 4. This is BBC Radio 4, serving the whole of the United Kingdom on 1,500 meters, 200 kilohertz. We broadcast on 198 kilohertz, that's 1515 meters on long wave, medium wave in certain areas, and on FM in England. That completes the shipping forecast here on BBC Radio 4 long wave. From tomorrow, Monday the 1st of April 2024, Radio 4 will stop running a separate long wave schedule.
You're listening to BBC Radio 4 on 198 kilohertz long wave. The BBC will end broadcasts of Radio 4 on long wave later this year, but you can continue to listen in many other ways.
This service is closing. BBC transmissions on this frequency will end on the 27th of June this year. However, you can continue to listen in many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB, digital radio, and through your digital television, including 3D. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz.
Wow, there you are. That's quite a good little video, that. So well done, Andrew. Sorry for stealing that. I haven't stolen it really. I put a link in there. So I'll put a link to that channel on, because there's a lot of other really good clips on that. So give it a sub, and just as a thank you for us using his video or her video, you never know. So let's have a look. What have we got then? So, God damn, I'm melting here. 6 p.m. That's not too bad then, Tom. Les remembers the light program had a ghost program in the early hours. The World Service would come up with a call. 1500 meters is now available. Ah, right on. Thanks, Bob. What Bob says, yeah. The bells used to start before the start of the programs. Thank you, Rob. Remember Radio 3 vacating 247 before that. Evening, Gavin. How are you, mate? Thanks for the message earlier. I got confused with the times and dates and all the rest of it. Well, she was a Navy Lock and Cliffaro kid on a Sunday. I mean, Radio 4 has been it's been probably remembered most fondly for the Archers, isn't it? I mean, you know, I used to be a gas engineer going in people's houses, and the number of people that used to still listen to the Archers was unreal. 247 was originally filler. See, I'm trying to rack my brains to see if I can remember, probably not the light program, but BBC Radio 2 on longwave, and I can't remember Radio 2 on longwave. So really, my only memories of longwave have been Radio 4. Get your tissue, Alex. Sound has a slight echo now. That's because I've still got global on. There we go. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I've got an echo because I've got 2 microphones going at the same time, so. Yeah, Joe got it. You love the echo, of course, like, well, I'll put it back on. Yeah, I've been listening to Longwave. I listened to it for about an hour earlier. Like about an hour and a half, actually, and I've been listening to it. There's actually quite a good, there's quite a good little slot just before we came on here live, actually, where someone was remembering the old transmitter site in the aerial. Stan Tacker, how you doing, mate? Yeah, they said they can't get the valves, but it's all down to cost, isn't it? Really, end of the day, you know, there's not many people listen to it these days. I mean, we're a little bit unique because we've got these old radios, and one of the best ways to tune up one of these radios is to stick it on 198 and max it, because you always know that you've trimmed up longwave as best as you can get, because like 200 kilohertz is pretty much smack bang in the center of the dial. So usually when you've got that right, it's right either side of it. But there's not a lot on. Should we have a little look? Let's have a little look. So I'm going to switch over to my SDR now. So I'll probably turn off my microphone and we'll have a little listen to Radio 4 live. So let me just get that sorted out for you. It's got a hell of a bandwidth, this thing. I mean, it's phenomenal. It really is. Okay, so let's go to the screen. So if I pop the volume up, you can see at the moment we are on exactly 198. I mean, look at the bandwidth of this thing. If I zoom back out, you can see we've got there's another station down here. Well, this is Algeria. But I mean, look at the strength and the bandwidth of this thing. It's phenomenal. Anyway, let's turn the volume up and have a listen to what's going on.
Want to run for this office. The Democrats like to skip ahead to the 10-point plan or, you know, this agenda or that agenda. Actually, I think Americans are more interested in Okay, why do you want to do these things? Why should I trust these things that you understand what I'm going through? And if you're not willing to
So what are we on at the moment? 23:22. So I think you're just hearing that through my microphone at the moment. Let me just route the audio for the screenshot.
From American voters is they don't want typical politicians. And that's the thing that comes out from your book. I'm proud to be on the back cover of it because it's not a political book. It's not the Ben Rhodes view of the world. It's a view of America from a set of speeches and your take on those speeches. And I want to ask you why you selected the ones you did. Because I knew the Obama speech very well, and there's a Trump one there as well, which you remember because it's more recent. But actually, most of the others I've never really come across at all. It wasn't, in a sense, the obvious ones. I think you had the Ronald Reagan speech. The one you chose was a particular one.
Yeah, well, it's not an anthology. It's not meant to be the greatest speech. It's meant to tell the story of not just American history, but essentially the arguments Americans have been having about what this country is and what it means to be American from the founding. Benjamin Franklin is the first one. But I wanted different perspectives. You know, we're going to have abolitionist voices. We're going to have famous people like Abraham Lincoln and people you've never heard of, like the suffragette Anna Dickinson, and showing the course of this argument about what the country is. So the Reagan speech I chose is the one in which he coined the phrase evil empire to talk about the Soviet.
And I suppose that's the point. It's a wider speech.
So this is what I found so fascinating about Justin is it's not his greatest. You know, I love the D-Day one about the boys of Ponderhook, for instance.
Right. Okay. Let me just turn that global off. So there you are. It's a huge signal, isn't it? What a loss to the bandwave, really. You know, to the radio bands. Let's catch up here a minute. Perhaps listen to Light on 247 when they lived in London. No radios at the boot sale, Anthony. To be fair, I deliberately never looked around. It's still hot as hell here, Anthony, at the moment. I've got a little fan on here beside me, but I'm going to have to whack that aircon on again in a minute, I think. So yeah, didn't really have a look around for any radios. I didn't take a lot of radios, to be fair. I took the nicotine impregnated, I can't remember the brand of it, Cluster Brands, I think it was. That one went. Took a couple CB radios, they went. That's about it, I think. But all the radios pretty much went. There's places in Scotland that can only get longwave as VHF is only line of sight. Yeah, there's a lot of places in the UK that can't get signals. I mean, longwave just nails it, doesn't it? Tonight's shipping forecast script should drop in the next couple of minutes. So you sent it to me, Gavin, have you? Thanks, mate. Steve, how you doing, mate? You went to a meeting recently and a bunch of BBCs insisted they had their meeting lunch earlier so they could listen to the Archers. I can well believe that, Steve. I can well believe it. I had a friend that, in fact, he was one of the guys that taught me a lot about amateur radio. And his missus, if you rang him on the telephone when the Archers were in, she was not happy. If the Archers was on and I rang him, I got a right rollicking, I can tell you. You know, very often I was told, ring back, he's busy. But it's her that watched it more than he did. 15C outside. French station only puts out data now. Yeah. Algeria's still on quite strong. Your late grand listen to the Archers. Bandwidth's about 11 kilohertz with the 7 secret hidden signals alongside the carrier. Did you see those little signals, Gavin? Well, you'll need to tell me a bit more about those. Christoph, how you doing, mate? Yeah, I think, how hard is it to build a long wave transmitter? Is it possible to build a long wave transmitter on a budget and get on the air with it? Not that I'm going to do that, but I'm just saying, how easy would it be to do? Anyone know what the output stage consists of? I'm not sure. We know it's valves, but I don't know which. No 2001Ds. Are they of that era? I was trying to find radios, Alex, that had it on the dial plate, and unfortunately, a 2001D doesn't have a dial plate. Stephen thought it's 50p. Did you hear my amateur radio listening? Yes, I did, Rob. I did say I heard it. Still 28. I can well believe it is that now. In here, it's absolutely baking. I got the wrong top on as well. I put this one on because it's like a golfing top, supposed to be light and wicking and all the rest of it, but I'm gonna put it on for your hot chocolate. I'll tell you what, I couldn't do hot chocolate. I'd have to do cold chocolate. Is Polsky still on 225? Evening FM, how are you? Yes. We add a power amp to it. You could do. Bet Auto can manufacture SS long wave. Yeah. Oh, okay, Anthony. Interesting. Grundig. Yeah, I mean, you need a fair old array, don't you, for long wave? You know, the lower the frequency, the bigger the antenna, isn't it? But the chap that was on earlier, I don't know, if you go BBC Sounds, you can probably play back. I think it was about 10:30 that this guy came on, and he was talking about the Droitwich transmitter and the antenna and the team that put it all together. Really interesting. I must see if I can get that. Lightning Crusher's on 1500. So you make tea. So let's have a look. If we go back to this a minute, I'll keep the audio. I won't put the audio for this on for a second. You'll just listen to it through the mic.
Reality that, like, we have a hard time thinking beyond tomorrow, never mind the next election.
So if I zoom out a little
where
bit,
would you actually like to go?
this is really the only other station on there now. You can see this is not as wide. That's about it's around about 8,000 kilohertz. You can see if compared to Radio 4.
Reports from Westminster on Parliament under a new Prime Minister, wildfires, and who should pay for preserving our churches. On BBC iPlayer.
This is more important than you.
Find your next hit drama. I just need to hear it.
There's all sorts of other little signals that you can see. That's this one here is pretty big, that.
You will lose.
Not himself.
I think that's... yeah.
Beyond just changing the face of the dispatch box and PMQs in order to demonstrate change.
After a blistering weather week, we hear about the dangers faced by farmers trying to stop.
Une équipe solide, très athlétique, et ce qui m'a particulièrement marqué, c'est que lors de ses deux premiers matchs contre l'Espagne et l'Uruguay, elle a défendu
To be doing, and you know, not unusual for these people to be.
I mean, it's even wider than that by the looks of it. You can see the lightning hitting, can't you, with it?
High, people drunk, wandering the streets in front of that nursery. She doesn't take her children out
So
quickly anymore.
this is actually
But
antenna A
in another spin
is
of the
my
Prime Ministerial merry-go-round,
active antenna that I built.
started with Sir Keir Starmer taking his place behind
Yeah, antenna A is my active antenna that I built. So this has got the power supply and it's stuck on just a fiberglass pole on the side of my shed. Starmer's gone.
I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision.
Keir Starmer said a new leader would be in place by the time...
But we don't get involved in politics on here, do we? There's various other little noisy noises on. I don't know what that is. It says it bleed over.
While also demonstrating change. And it's pretty clear, I think, that he is going to want to come in as a new Prime Minister, and some things are going to have to differ. A été interrogé justement sur cette fameuse ronde PMQs in order to demonstrate change. So
Just
I
see
think
if
some
it,
of the policies that were
if anything
announced in
pops
the
up.
King's speech may well get radically altered as they go through Parliament in the next 12 months. And there may well be other policies as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I'm not sure this is that unusual. We change Prime Ministers quite frequently mid-term, and that often involves a change in policy. It's just a bit unusual that this has happened so soon after the King's speech, and indeed so soon into the Parliament as a whole.
Now, the new Prime Minister is going to inherit a fairly rebellious House of Commons. I mean, let's not
It
forget...
looks like
Keir
I'm
Starmer
frozen,
faced
but...
a pretty big rebellion over his plans for welfare reform pretty early on in his term. So, Labour MPs are not necessarily
I'm
going
not.
to toe the line.
Dave, thank you very much,
I've
mate.
looked at the rebellion rate since the election, and by comparison with other first sessions since the changing government, it's relatively
Let's just
high,
shut that up a
although
minute.
it's still pretty low in absolute terms. I mean, Labour MPs aren't sort of feral. They know, and they know
I'll make it a bit lower. We'll have it going in the background. How about that?
parliamentary party. It is a parliamentary party.
Then if they say anything about the transmitter shutting down, we'll switch back to it.
Short-term honeymoon, maybe, with his backbenchers. There will be a lot of goodwill towards him. They want him to do well. Bluntly, they need him to do
Yeah, we'll switch
well.
back if
And I think there is a
there's anything on it.
electoral upturn as well. That will help in terms of managing backbench discontent. But if either
So what I want to do is have a look at some of these radios and have a look at the dials on them so we can see some of the different things back through the ages.
He has got plenty of MPs who have been willing to say no before.
Les has got a mag loop. Works great on my M-Lite 880. Right, okay.
So those problems, if rebellion starts to continue, those problems only get worse as parliaments go on. They never get better.
So, how does that compare with what Andy Burnham is
The
suggesting?
BBC Rural Death Alert System. How?
The whips and of party discipline in the traditional sense.
So Andy Burnham's on record, and he repeated this recently as saying that
Media show had about 10 minutes on 198 yesterday. Yeah, they did. They did a stint on it about 5 minutes earlier, Steve.
And assuming that that's genuine, I think it might, for example, mean that you cease to see MPs losing the
Steve's got the old Brookman's Park transmitter down from him.
as you did under Keir Starmer. That was a pretty hard line to take on some of those votes, and I suspect that might not happen.
252, I used to love that. I used to listen to that in the car all the time.
Given what he said. So I think there might be a desire to do that. I mean, on the other hand, you could take a more cynical view of it and say that that's the sort of thing that's bluntly easy to say when you're mayor of a major city, rather than actually at Westminster. You know, the sort of thing, and sort of generalised anti-politics.
A new inbox transmitter. Send it over, Christoph. We'll get on air with it.
It's harder to stick to that line when you're at Westminster governing, and you need to win votes in order to get controversial pieces of legislation through. But time will tell.
Final thought, there is some suggestion, given the timetable that's been laid
Yeah, I'm
out
not
so
sure.
far, that if
It's
Andy
Folk,
Burnham
isn't it?
becomes Prime
FM?
Minister, we might not see him in the House of Commons before the summer recess, so he wouldn't actually appear in
The chat's
front of
going pretty
MPs
quick.
in Parliament until September time. Does that matter?
The Buzzer, how you doing, mate?
And I don't actually think it was necessary.
1960 Tube Radio.
Quite possible to have a slightly shorter
Yeah.
contest than this, particularly if there isn't actually going to be a formal contest. We could easily have resolve this.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Done in days.
I mean, it was heard quite a lot of places in Europe.
Be the place where we hold people accountable. Then Andy Burnham should go
Mr.
in
Bilbo, how are you, mate?
Before September.
Professor Philip Cowley from Queen Mary University of London. Well, it's not just the political temperature that's nudged up in the last few days. Large parts of England and Wales have sweltered for much of the week. With the
So we've got it playing in the background, as I say. Oh, you're at your daughter's, Les, are you?
On the 19th of July 2022, the UK hit an all-time record temperature with dramatic consequences.
Yeah.
As weather thermometers breached the 40 degrees mark for the first time in Britain, London was burning. This was Wennington in the far east of the capital, just inside the M25. A fire in a parched area of grass was fanned by a stiff southerly breeze and engulfed houses on the edge of the village.
Set my bandwidth a bit too narrow.
As firemen tried to douse the flames, panicked horses
18 kilohertz.
whinnying in the fields.
Well, in the week, the Commons Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee held a timely inquiry into the growing threat of wildfires and how to tackle them. Professor Emma Howard-Boyd chairs the National...
I bet they would, Anthony.
This is a new world we're operating in. And
Tim in Bognor Regis. Welcome, mate.
In rural areas, whether they're in that rural-urban interface, are growing in number. And it wasn't just physical damage. Wildfires could have a serious health impact. Heat is a force multiplier of air pollution, fire added into the mix. We're just layering the different risks that individuals are facing, and I don't think that, again, this is...
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean there, Baz. I mean, if you look up here, it says my bandwidth is 19.35 RBW. Is that resident bandwidth or residual? I'm not sure, but my filter is set at 11K bandwidth for this.
We place a lot of weight on things like disposable barbecues or cigarettes or
20K.
I don't have any scientific evidence that they
I mean, that's way out of it. I mean, it's there, look, isn't it? If I drag this in,
trends are, and these small little wildfire incidents are critical.
it's about there, which is 505.7 kilohertz.
What powers we need and then what do we need to ban?
Richard Bailey is a gamekeeper and coordinator of the Peak District Moorland Group. He had one solution for some countryside.
It does sound great, though, doesn't it?
I'm biased. We need.
Poland is coming up now, look. But Algeria is
noting that if the peatland has become dried and damaged, you're more likely to get, rather than a flash fire, a fire that goes down into the peat as significant.
so, as I say, it'll be interesting to see what happens to this after 1 o'clock this morning, what we're left with. Whether it will transfer over to the World Service, I don't know.
I spoke to the Lib Dem Alistair Carmichael, who chairs the committee.
Or whether it'll stop dead.
For evidence ahead of that inquiry, it had a big response from the public.
We heard from one gamekeeper's wife, for example, who said that she doesn't know when her husband goes out to tackle a fire because it's always the gamekeepers or the hill farmers or the shepherds who are the first to get out there and try and tackle it, and a lot of the time are able to contain it without the fire brigade or any of the other services.
Yeah, we're round about.
She says, you know,
We
he
could
goes
go
out to areas
wider.
where there's no mobile phone coverage, so I don't know when he's coming back. And we heard from farmers who describe much the same thing, and they say that if they go out into their farm and they find people...
You can see the lightning strikes like thunder when it jumps up.
of that sort, they will tell them, look, this is a dangerous thing for you to be doing.
Anyway,
And,
let's
you know,
get back
it's not
on.
unusual for these people to be threatened as a consequence of it, because somehow or another there's not that...
David Hutchman, how you doing, mate?
...amongst the general public of just how dangerous, how much damage can be done by that sort of carelessness.
Do you think part of the problem is that you don't really know how many of these fires have started deliberately, how many have started by accident, or how many have started by other means?
That was a big part of the evidence that the committee heard. definition amongst the different public authorities who have an interest in it of what actually constitutes a wildfire. So without anticipating too much about what the committee will put in its report, I think we will be seeing that this is an area which...
Or it'll be a recorded message just say we're here, but we are not now. Yeah.
Continue to grow, and it's really not good enough that the
Turned off in its entirety. Yeah, true.
the way of
I mean, we heard that message a while back, didn't we, on my channel?
responsible for nature has a big role to play here. But
Shall we have a look at some of these radios then?
service goes to housing communities and local government.
Let's go up to the main. So I've got quite a selection here, am I?
There are different interests
With different things. Rob.
This is a moment for what we used to call joint government.
What was also obvious though from your session
What's
was
Rob
that there
saying?
are quite
If there's a radio station behind Radio 4, could be
how
difficult to
best
pick up
deal with the threat.
until it's night.
You get into some of the
Yes.
politics and some of the
There's not one in behind Radio 4 though, is there, Rob?
our upland areas are
Not as far as I'm aware.
And there are all sorts of different political debates around things like Clivengeismoor and whether or not there should be routine burning. So, you know, don't wait until the heather gets to be waist high. Can you remove vegetation from the hill with...
I'm not sure what you mean, Baz, about this. I set the bandwidth looking at the screen and the width of the signal. So whatever is displayed on the spectrum display, I make sure that my bandwidth is right on the edge of that. So I alter it depending on what station it's on.
There is that better respect and understanding between government and the communities who are most directly affected, then this is just going to keep becoming more and more divisive. There needs to be a resetting of the relationship between bodies like Natural England and the land managers in the country.
I'm going to have to put that up to number 3, I think, that file.
Here without that.
Alistair Carmichael then. You're listening to Today in Parliament with me, Alicia McCarthy.
Oof.
Now, drug use, violence and crime. A Labour MP said her area is...
There are a lot of different ones. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this, but let's get down on the first radio then. Let's have a look at this, because these are... These first two, let's just turn Radio 4 down a little bit a minute, just a second.
She told me about the problems they create. There you have a beautiful old house.
Let's turn that down a bit, that's better.
Shop built in lots of tiny little bits, loads of different rooms.
So these are two ramblers. They're both ramblers, but one is an early one with the square rectangular buttons, and the other one is a later one. So the brown one is the earlier one, and if you look on long wave here, if I can get my finger in, it says BBC 2. So this radio came out when BBC 2 was basically in the 200 kilohertz slot. So it wasn't long before this one came out after. I take it they had a problem with the buttons or something, or the knobs. And this one came out. And if we look at the dial on this one, it actually says Radio 4. 200 kilohertz. So not a lot of difference in time between those two radios, but you can see that that is when they moved to Radio 4 on long wave. So let's go back in time a bit further to the Roberts R200. And the long wave scale is the red and black bit on this one. And now you'll notice we have got light. So this predates Radio 2 being on there, and we've now got light on it. So that is long wave now as we know it, Radio 4. But it used to be light. So what's the date of the R200? I should have dated these really, but I can't remember off the top of my head. That's got to be 60s. These are early to late 70s. So that's those. Let's see if I can pop those down somewhere out of the way safely so I don't crush them with the chair. So I found this one. This is, I believe this is an Operdio, but the reason I've got this one, can you see these stickers? This is the stickers they gave you when the stations changed. So now instead of lightlet, someone stuck a 4 over it. So that would have been Radio 4 there, look. And you can see we've got 2 up here. And what does that say? 1 and 3. So Radio 1, Radio 2 and Radio 3 on medium wave. But yeah, it's good that this, I think, because I got a pet hate with these things. I never liked them, so whenever I saw them on a radio, I pick them off on my finger now and get rid of all the sticky. But really, they are significant now. Now we're losing all these stations. They are very significant. So again, light would have been there. Radio 4 is just there, look. So 200, 198, just slightly off. So someone's been very accurate putting that sticker on, look. So that says Midland up there for Radio 1 on medium wave, look. Radio 2 is what used to be the old 3rd, but it's slightly off, maybe different frequency. And number 3 is where the light station was on medium wave. It's clever, isn't it? So I thought I'd show you that because I peel these off, so it's amazing that these have stayed on here, because normally I get rid of them. So yeah, that's an Operdio. I believe that's what it is anyway. I'm sure we've worked on it. Most of these we've had on the bench. What was light radio? Light radio was the forerunner, I believe, to Radio 2, Andrew. So this next one, you'll have seen this one a few times. This is the Bush. So again on medium wave, I can stop the light shining on it. We have actually got light on long wave. So we've got light on long wave there, look. And there's Aloe, Moscow, Motala, Oslo, Luxembourg and Lati as well, that were all on long wave back in the day. And this is early 60s, this one. So yeah, that's the Bush TR82C. If it'll focus. Long way up. I've actually got a TR82B in for repair as well at the moment. So that one will be coming up soon. I couldn't show you all these radios without getting my favourite hacker radio of all time out. I couldn't resist it. I'm going to have to zoom out because this is a beast. It is, of course, the Super Sovereign. Well, look at that monster. So, I'm trying to see, where are we? Long wave. 1500. That says BBC 2. Can you see that? Ugh, let me zoom in a bit. So where are we? We need to be over this way a little bit. Excuse me while I mess with the camera. Okay, so we've got long wave here. I've come up to here, and we've got BBC 2 at 1500 meters. So again, this would have been just before the changeover to BBC 4. So yeah. Yes, it will. I mean, end of the day, you can still broadcast if you wanted to. You could still broadcast Radio 4. Thank you, Rob.
Liberal Democrat Lord Scriven took a very different view.
You got the 1500 shown as Droitwich, have you, Steve? I have got some older sets. Thank you, Rob. I do know that, Rob. So I've dug a Volvo out. Now this is very familiar to all of you, I'm sure. This is the DAC 90A. It's got a nice big streak because that light's in it. But if we zoom in on the display on this one, we've got long wave there, look. BBC Light. So, yeah. Just catch up with the chat. You have an ultra marked Droitwich. It is a nice bit of kit recorder, that. Evening, Aaron. How are you, mate? I thought most people would be awake anyway with this damn heat, so it's a good time to do it. So I thought we'd plug this one in. Plug it in and have a listen. So let's zoom out. So what I've done to try and get a signal, I don't know if this will work or not. You'll probably tell me I'm a lunatic and it's never going to work, but I've hooked up a coil of wire to my long wire. See if I can induce it, because the aerial on these is in the side. I can't remember which side it is now. It's that side over there. So it's this side. So what I was going to do is hang that over there and see if I can't induce the external aerial into the frame area, which is pretty rubbish on these, to be fair. So let's just silence that other one a minute. Let's see if we can't wait for the valves to warm up.
But what's it like to rejoin after being away? Melanie On is the Labour MP for Great Grimsby and Cleethorpes. She was re-elected in 2024, having lost her seat in 2019. So, how did she feel when she returned to the chamber, walked up to the dispatch box and took the oath for a second time?
It is quite bizarre because when you lose, you can't even imagine. I know Andy stood down, he didn't lose an election, but you don't imagine that you'll be going back there again. So it is quite momentous. And I remember standing in the queue thinking, oh, first time round, I didn't know really what was going on. And second time round, still not entirely sure I know what's going on. But with lots of people around me who were brand new to it, who all assumed that I could remember exactly what had happened 10 years previously.
And when you're actually doing it, does it feel just as special as the first time?
Yeah, it does. And I think because it goes by in such a blur, the fact that you get a chance to do it again, at least you can absorb it a bit better. But I thought probably Andy got a bit distracted because, of course, somebody...
Plus you got the smell of very warm valves as well.
His moment of signing and the importance of it maybe diluted a little bit.
Now, you had a bit of a gap, about, 5 years in between your two sessions.
So it does help, doesn't it?
Did it feel like absolutely nothing had changed, or did some of it feel different?
Definitely some of it felt different. I was surprised that I had forgotten my way around some parts of the palace. So routes to and from different places had gone. It's very different coming in with such a big group of new people. I mean, it must have been 3/4 of the Commons that was brand new across all sides.
Good
so
stuff.
That has been a bigger exercise in trying to remember everybody, because there were people I just wasn't sure whether they were our MPs or not, whether on the Labour side or on the other benches. And so
certainly without it,
get used to that. And then even then, some of the procedure and processes and things like that, I've had to go back and check with whips and people who have been around for a long time just to refresh my memory. But I mean, generally there was a sense of familiarity, maybe more more comfort than I had last time, just because it is something that you have done before, so you are kind of retreading your steps.
And as you mentioned, a whole batch of new faces when you reappeared in the Commons in 2024. So you've got to start all over again, rebuilding those relationships on your own side, but also with the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you forget, because when I came in 2015, actually, we were a relatively small cohort, about 30 or something like that. So we got to know each other incredibly well and have stayed quite close as well through the intervening years. To try and do that with, 300 brand new people in your own party is nigh on impossible. So you don't get that same sense of being a small gang, because actually we're a dominant new gang. So actually it upset the balance in Parliament quite a lot as well. So you could feel that lots of new people want to do things in new ways, but it certainly ruffled the feathers, I think, of people who've been there for some time, and there is a certain way of doing things, and there is a bit of deference, but with so many new people, it's a bit more chaotic than that, and you just can't control it.
And an advantage, I suppose, for you, because you had been there before, so you were, I assume, able to hit the ground running a bit faster than some of the others, perhaps.
I think so. I knew what I wanted to do, and so, some things that had worked well last time I was able to replicate. Some things that I thought, I remember going down this path, making these choices last time. I wouldn't do that again. So that has helped me, I think, to avoid some of the stresses, because when you're first elected, it is such a big job. The responsibility, it weighs really heavy on your shoulders, and you want to do it absolutely the best that you can. And you can run yourself ragged, and you don't take breaks, and you're trying to be all things to all people at all times. And I knew that I just couldn't do that, because I did that before, and after 18 months I was absolutely exhausted. So I was like, I'm just going to pace myself this time, get things in order, and take it a bit more slowly.
So is that your top tip to Parliament's most famous returnee of the week?
I would love to tell him to slow down and take it easy. I don't think he's going to have that choice, though.
Labour MP Melanie on there. And that's it from us for now. I'm Alicia McCarthy. The studio manager was Paul Mason. The editor was Susan Hume. And that was Today in Parliament.
This is BBC Radio 4.
It's a lovely tone, isn't it? Pips. Ooh, Big Ben.
BBC News at midnight. This is Chris Aldridge. US forces have tonight hit targets near the Strait of Hormuz, saying the strikes were a response to an Iranian attack on a commercial ship in the strategically important waterway. Search and rescue efforts are ramping up in Venezuela, where 2 powerful earthquakes are confirmed to have killed more than 900 people. More than 50,000 others are feared missing. The UK has recorded its hottest ever June temperature for the 3rd day in a row. President Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton has pleaded guilty to mishandling classified documents. Sir Keir Starmer has declined to sack the Immigration Minister Mike Tabb, despite being asked to do so by the Home Secretary. Also tonight, a final farewell to Radio 4 broadcasts on longwave. The US says it struck Iranian targets near the Strait of Hormuz tonight in response to an attack by Tehran on a commercial ship on Thursday. US Central Command says it targeted Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites. The US Vice President J.D. Vance says violence will be met with violence. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has said its forces will respond more extensively if there's any repeated aggression. Our correspondent Phil Griffiths reports from Washington.
It's just over a week since the United States and Iran both signed a memorandum of understanding, pledging to end conflict on all fronts and open the Strait of Hormuz. However, this latest escalation shows the ceasefire is fragile and being tested on both sides. The United States says its aircraft struck Iranian storage facilities and a coastal radar site in response to a drone hitting a commercial cargo ship traveling along the Omani coast in the Strait. While the damage was limited and the ship was able to continue its journey, US Central Command described it as an unwarranted act of aggression by Iranian forces and said its military remained present to ensure the agreement was obeyed. In a post on social media, the US Vice President, J.D. Vance,
said
Iran could pick up the phone if it had a disagreement on how the memorandum was being applied. Iran state media is reporting that the Revolutionary Guard repelled the American attack on Sirik Island.
Earlier in Washington, Israel and Lebanon signed a framework agreement which had been brokered by the United States after 5 rounds of negotiations. The U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said it would begin to put in place a basis for peace. Lebanon's president said it was a first step to restoring sovereignty. But it comes as limited fighting has continued between Israeli forces and the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. More from our Global Affairs correspondent, Sebastian Usher.
Ice in it.
The full details of the agreement have not been announced, though there are reports that it again involves Israeli forces pulling out of some areas of southern Lebanon. Diplomatically, the fact that some kind of an agreement has been signed is a step forward, but the situation on the ground in Lebanon has shown little sign of shifting, despite several ceasefires. Both the Israeli military and Hezbollah are still carrying out attacks on each other, though with reduced intensity for now. Iran has linked the war in Lebanon to its ceasefire deal with the US, prompting President Trump to put pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to rein in the Israeli offensive. But Mr. Netanyahu has already restated his position, which is shared by his political opponents, that the IDF won't withdraw until Hezbollah disarms. Lebanese government has been increasingly angry at what it sees as Tehran's interference in its affairs through its proxy, but its influence beyond the talks in Washington remains limited.
There are fears that the number of people killed in the 2 powerful earthquakes in Venezuela on Wednesday will rise significantly as a desperate search for survivors continues. More than 900 people are now confirmed to have died, but many more are still missing, with the United Nations humanitarian chief putting that figure at more than 50,000. One of the worst-hit areas is the northern port city of La Guaira, where satellite images show many high-rise buildings have been flattened. Carolina Lopez is one of those searching for missing relatives.
The only thing I can say is that I have my heart in my hands and I don't know what to do. That's the only thing I can say. I ask God for everything. There, where you see that destruction, nothing. I don't know where He is.
Sounds a damn sight better than it does coming out the speakers in this
There have been some moments of
PC.
relief, such as this rescue of a woman.
It does sound a lot better than the noise that's coming out the computer through the SDR, I can tell you. Can't beat a decent sized speaker and a bit of warmth, can you?
The BBC's Vanessa Silva has been in La Guaira.
They might do a piece on the transmitter closing in a minute, so we'll keep it on.
Words to explain what we have seen in this area of this coastal town of Venezuela. There's so many destructions. This building at my back is just completely lining to one side. It's about to collapse, and there is so many places, and you can see people struggling with their own hands, trying to remove the rubble, the concrete, in the searching of the loved ones. But it's a lot of work that is needed. The international rescue teams are arriving to Venezuela, but still it's not enough. Still it's not deployed in all the places that
this is working well, that little
today.
coil.
We literally see the floor open, the earth break.
All I did was wind a load of single core wire around an aerosol can and just taped it together. Pardon me, attached it to my long wire via the ATU. Yes, I've just got it hooked up pump through that one at the moment. So it's not coupled, it's through, because it doesn't really matter at this frequency. It doesn't make much difference.
To search through the wreckage of collapsed buildings.
So if I turn it in and out,
every now and again they fall silent.
That's a coupler.
To see if they can hear anyone knocking or crying for help. Then a shout goes up. There has been an aftershock and they move to safety. This was how much of the first 36 hours of the rescue operation was carried out.
Yeah, it doesn't make much
Local
difference
people
in this frequency,
working by hand.
It does on medium wave.
That spirit was praised by the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, when she spoke to the nation a few hours ago.
Lo que está expresando es
El gran corazón de nuestro pueblo. This demonstrates the great heart of our people and their solidarity.
Doesn't
No
matter,
one has
Steve. It only
hesitated
times
to
you
go
out for
out into
2
the
minutes,
streets
I
to lend a
think.
hand to their Venezuelan brother or sister. And a very
Yeah,
special
worked
recognition
well.
goes to our rescuers, those arriving from all over the country to join this commendable task of rescuing people alive from collapsed buildings and homes.
But this country, which has
We
long
ought to
suffered from
focus in
poor
on the
governance
dial, really,
and
didn't
US
we?
sanctions, needs help to cope with a disaster of this scale.
Just to show that we're
Teams from all over the world have flown into Venezuela, with many heading for the
on
worst
BBC
affected
Light.
area in this disaster, the northern city of La Guaira. The UN says more than 1,000 rescue workers have arrived, along with 6 teams of specially trained dogs. Nicola Putschelt from the International Search and Rescue Dog Organization says they will save lives.
There is
Venezuela's been
always
hit
hope to
hard,
find
hasn't it? That's
people alive. So
unreal.
as we know from past
So you
events,
can
there
hear
have
there's a
been
little
people
whistle when I
found
turn the
after
light
several
on.
days, and I think this is also possible in this event. And we are very hopeful to find a lot of people and can help families to bring back.
It's working very well, actually.
Today, once again, the number of confirmed dead rose sharply, but many more are still missing. Even as a major international rescue effort gets underway, few doubt the true scale of this tragedy is only just beginning to
So I think
emerge.
we'll play it out on this one. Sounds the best.
A new record high temperature for June was set in the UK for the third day in a row as heatwave conditions continue to affect parts of the country. The Met Office says a temperature of 37.3 Celsius was recorded at Santon Downham in Suffolk, topping the previous high of 36.7 Celsius in Somerset yesterday. Health leaders have warned that the unprecedented heat is having an impact on NHS services, as our health reporter Catherine Burns explains.
When you think about NHS staff
Very
going
dimly
above and beyond in a
backlit.
heatwave, it's not just doctors and nurses. At St Mary's Hospital in London, the estates team have been taking turns doing shifts on the roof,
I should have dusted
day
them
and
valves
night,
off tonight
hosing
first.
down the rooftop chillers with cold water, just to keep the air conditioning on inside.
Essentially, keeping it continually doused with water is the only way that we can keep it cool enough in order to be able to keep it running.
That's Ian Bateman, the Chief Operating Officer at Imperial College Healthcare. He says staff and patients have been brilliant, but it's not been easy.
Inside the hospital,
more the merrier.
We're doing our very best.
Wonderland
We've got additional chiller units in and fans everywhere that we could possibly put them, but unfortunately it's still uncomfortable. We're keeping our temperatures under constant review and wherever possible moving staff and patients around to try and keep them as comfortable as possible. But I think it's probably fair to say it's pushed our buildings and it's pushed our staff to some really challenging limits at times.
Parts of this hospital date back to the 1800s,
Clint did say we'd drop him, but
not
I
built
haven't
with
seen him
climate
yet.
change
He might
or
be
air
there watching.
conditioning in mind. Health leaders are warning that the NHS isn't equipped for heat waves and needs investment to cope with what is becoming an annual event. NHS staff have been telling me what it's like for them. One nurse said her ward was like a wall of heat and called it intolerable. A midwife described mums and new babies struggling to cope with temperatures over 30 degrees in a postnatal ward. And an A&E doctor said the heating was still on in some parts of their hospital. They said staff were irritable and some patients were abusive. Amy Tompkins is a GP in Greater Manchester.
Like so many others, our practice is converted residential rather than purpose-built,
warm in this
and general practice has limited resources to be able to cool the environment. We have one air conditioning unit in reception, so several of the doctors have been taking regular breaks to go and stand out there throughout their clinics.
NHS England says its website pages on heat exhaustion have had more than 120,000 hits in the last 5 days.
I've had heat
It says
exhaustion.
services
That
are
is
using
not fun.
well-tested plans to keep staff and patients safe, but is asking the public to use their common sense about being out in the heat.
Yeah, I have had heat exhaustion, and that is not
The German
much
Weather
fun.
Service has said the country has hit its highest ever temperature on record at 41.3 Celsius, as large parts of Europe swelter under similar conditions to the UK. Our correspondent Anna Holligan
Will
sent
you
this
try
report
it?
from the Dutch seaside
What
resort
do you mean,
of
Rob?
Kite-Down.
You're on a red and gold Hacker RP35. Very nice, Andrew.
Stretching
Very
across the North
nice.
Sea, toddlers
I would have
splashing
liked to
the
have
waves
heard
and
it
families seek
on
relief in the sea breeze.
Elsewhere,
Super Sovereign.
escaping the heat is far more difficult.
I'll hook a
The
Super
electronic
Sovereign up
music
as well,
festival,
just do a
DEFCON 1 in the
comparison.
Netherlands was
on the
ended
side.
prematurely. At midnight, visitors were asked to leave as a code red weather warning took effect. Fans were gutted.
I feel sorry for the people
After the
that
news,
have come
I'm
really
going down to
far.
get another
Some people
beer.
have travelled literally from the
listen to
other
it on
side of the
your own.
world for like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so I feel gutted for them.
Stick a lead
But
here.
I understand as well because it's so hot.
Organisers said they simply couldn't take the risk.
We were in the tent yesterday and you couldn't even dance. Everyone's pouring with sweat, everyone's exhausted. You couldn't do it, and that was, what, 31 degrees, so 37 today. Yeah, it's unbearable.
Across the continent, the heat is having devastating consequences. In France, a toddler died after being rescued from a car. The Pride March, scheduled to take place in Paris this weekend, has been postponed, while officials in Belgium cancelled a reenactment of Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. The World Weather Attribution Group of scientists said the record-breaking heat gripping Europe is unmistakably linked to climate change, and such temperatures would have been virtually impossible 50 years ago.
President Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton has pleaded guilty to mishandling classified information in a federal court. Mr. Bolton, who's become a fierce critic of Mr. Trump, made his admission as part of a deal which could see him go to prison for up to 5 years. More from our North America editor, Sarah Smith.
John Bolton amassed various amounts of national defence information in the notes he took when he was researching his 2020 memoir, The Room Where It Happened. He then used a personal email account and a messaging app to share that information with 2 members of his family who did not have security clearances. His email account was later accessed by a hacker allegedly linked to Iran. Under the plea agreement he struck, he will serve no more than 5 years in jail and will have to pay a fine of over $2 million. A former top advisor to President Trump, Mr. Bolton has become one of his most outspoken critics. When he was first charged, he sought to portray the investigation as part of President Trump's push to use the justice system to target his political enemies. Today, he admitted the charges and said he was sorry for it.
Yeah, I'd have to disconnect my aerial from this one.
The 2023 indictment of Donald Trump for mishandling secret documents he kept at Mar-a-Lago. The judge overseeing that case dismissed those charges before it went to trial.
President Trump has threatened to impose a 100% import tariff against any country that targets US firms with a digital services
the aerial off of
including
the bush
the UK.
to stick it on the
EU has vowed to respond swiftly and decisively if Mr. Trump carries out his threat. The Russian-controlled authorities in Crimea have declared a state of emergency after Ukrainian attacks disrupted fuel supplies. Moscow says the move is designed to keep essential services running. President Zelensky of Ukraine has announced what he calls a 40-day influence campaign aimed at forcing Russia to negotiate. Our Eastern Europe correspondent Sarah Rainsford said this report from Lviv.
Yeah, there's Clint.
First, there was
How you doing,
rationing
mate?
and power cuts. Now there's a state of emergency in Crimea as Ukraine steps up its drone attacks on the peninsula.
John Bonham, welcome.
After making this announcement, the Russian-appointed governor, Sergei Aksyonov, had to reassure residents it wouldn't mean restrictions on their movements or a curfew. He said it was about cutting bureaucracy to take rapid decisions. But Ukraine is focusing its military strikes on and around Crimea like never before, and that's having a major impact.
How are you keeping, Clint? It's baking in here tonight.
On social media, people are posting videos of shopping centres with no power.
The problem is I can't have the windows open in here because I'll get all the flies in. I have got aircon in here, but if I turn the aircon on...
For safety. Moscow's illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014 was hugely popular in Russia.
How loud is that?
For Vladimir Putin.
Is that too much?
But for Ukraine, it was the first act of
it's nice and cold, though.
in what later became an all-out invasion. So this intensified military campaign against the stolen
So
jewel
people
of
all over
President
Europe
Putin's
can hear
crown
this now.
is highly symbolic in itself. But it is also part of a wider push to increase pressure on the Kremlin and to force Vladimir Putin into peace talks before Russia gets better at intercepting the drones.
Sir Keir Starmer has declined to sack the Immigration Minister Mike Tapp, despite being asked to do so by the Home Secretary. Shabana Mahmood argues Mr Tapp has broken collective responsibility and breached the ministerial code by writing a newspaper article without consulting her first. Our political correspondent Damien Grammaticus is following developments.
That's a bit better.
Sir Keir
Turn
Starmer's
it to yellow
intervention
light
is a
rather
sharp
than
rebuff
white.
to his Home Secretary. Downing Street said it was not for any individual Secretary of State, but for the Prime Minister alone to decide if someone had broken the ministerial code. Mr Tapp, the immigration minister working under Shabana Mahmood,
That's a more
had written an
accurate
article
colour.
about her signature policy to make many who come to the
Jess, how
UK
you,
wait
mate?
longer before they can apply for permanent residency. He said, to be fair, it should not apply retrospectively to those
28
already
degrees,
here on
48
care
yesterday.
worker
It's
visas.
baking
He
in
had
here.
not cleared the article with her.
Oh, hello.
In Sir Keir's government, Mr Tapp has been a staunch defender of the Prime Minister. Ms Mahmood, who's been effectively rebuked, was one of the cabinet ministers who recently told Sir Keir he should step down.
The Green Party has been forced to return a donation which was made by its leader, Zach Polanski, after it was deemed to be
Unfortunately,
impermissible. Mr Polanski gave just
type
over
caps in, it does delete you.
£1,500 to the London branch of his party
It'll only
last
be for a couple
September,
minutes.
but wasn't
course,
on the
lad.
electoral register at the time. His party put that down to personal security concerns. Here's our political correspondent, Harry Farley.
Zach Polanski gave his party £1,539 shortly after he took over in September last year. But at the time, Mr Polanski was not on the electoral register, meaning legally the donation was impermissible. The explanation from his party that he wasn't registered because of security concerns comes as Mr Polanski is understood to be in discussion with the Home Office and police about his protection. Because the donation was unlawful, it should have been returned within 30 days. But it wasn't returned until the 10th of June
Had it on low
this year.
almost every night for
Party
over 10
spokesperson
years.
said this donation was made to the London Green Party. When the issue was brought to the National Party's attention,
I say I can't
the donation
open a window.
was returned. The
If
Electoral
I hit
Commission
that
said it was
aircon
considering
on,
the matter and so could not comment, but that it had not launched an investigation.
The court has lifted reporting
Oh,
restrictions
much-
that prevented
that's
the
so
media
bad.
from
So
identifying 13 men who were charged alongside a husband who is accused of conspiring with others to drug and sexually abuse his wife.
You're telling me you
The
can't
husband
hear
and
that?
12 of the 13 other suspects are due to go on trial in Manchester later this year. Our North of England reporter Rowan Bridge listened to proceedings at Manchester Minshall Street, Crown Court.
I might give it a burst every so often. How about that?
And from the Stockport area of Greater Manchester, he can't be named to protect the identity of his wife. Of the 48 offences he was charged with, he's admitted 15, including rape, but will stand trial on other allegations. They include conspiring with other people to drug and rape his wife. This morning, the judge lifted an order allowing us to report more detail of the case. 12 of the 13 co-defendants have pleaded not guilty. They're Philip Wilde, Sean Pears, Jonathan Kirk and Robert Stewart, all from Stockport. Jordan Wallace and Alan Keelan, who are both
turned
from
it up
Manchester.
to high to burn the valves out.
Kabir of No Fixed Abode. Graham Brewer
I
from
like it,
Northwich in
Jess.
Cheshire.
Excellent.
Richard Townsend from Rochdale. Carl Lindsay from Taunton. Daniel Rayner
It is
from
supposed to
Whitstable
get
in
cooler
Kent,
tomorrow,
and David
yeah.
Griggs from Ilkeston in Derbyshire. Between them, they face a range of charges, including rape and conspiracy to rape. A 13th co-defendant has pleaded guilty to 4 charges. Keith Fotheringham, who's from Dundee, has
Some a bit
admitted,
more
among
aircon
other
on.
offences, conspiring to rape and conspiring to drug the woman
Blast
at the
away.
centre of the case. Those who pleaded not guilty to offences will go on trial in
I'm
Manchester
amazed you can't
in
hear that.
September.
It's damn loud.
Downing Street has said it is very concerning that a US
Yeah, I
fighter
agree,
pilot
Les.
stationed in the UK avoided trial under English law for strangling a woman in Cambridge. Captain Jacob Wolfson was tried at an American military court by a panel of 8 male Air Force officers, despite the incident taking place while he was off duty. Our UK correspondent Daniel Sanford reports.
Sarah Steele waived her anonymity to allow the Guardian newspaper to highlight the concerns raised by
that's
her
nice.
case. The Cambridge academic met Captain Jacob Wolfson on the dating app Tinder and agreed to go to see the fighter pilot at his flat in Cambridge. But there he strangled her during sex, which she said was not consensual.
This mic must
When
be
she reported
phenomenal.
it, Cambridge Constabulary allowed the US military police to take the lead in the investigation. Wolfson was tried by an all-male American court-martial panel, which found him guilty of strangulation, but acquitted him of non-consensual sex. Sarah Steele told the Today programme that the panel then took into account Wolfson's military record when passing sentence.
Oh, that's
they
so
were raising in his mitigation how many people he'd killed, supposedly to get him a lower sentence for committing a serious violent crime against him.
Under an agreement made in 1951, members of US armed forces based in the UK will be prosecuted by the Americans for offences committed on duty or against other US personnel. Other offences can be prosecuted.
See, I'm on holiday at the moment, believe it or not. This is one of my last days off today. Well, I've got to go back to work on Wednesday next week, but so I got Monday and Tuesday off. But we were due to go out for a meal yesterday, down to we're going to go down to a place down near Newton Abbot, and it was so hot, it was unbearable. I think it was nearly 36 here yesterday, and it's just we were trying to find out if any places had air conditioning, because we just couldn't bear to sit in a pub and eat.
Officer has been found guilty of misconduct
because
in
of
public
the
office after creating what prosecutors described as a toxic WhatsApp culture. Paul Street encouraged
you're all
colleagues
having
to
me on, I
bully a
swear. It's
teenage
a hell of a
detainee
noise.
and asked for a sexual video of a female suspect. The jury at the Old Bailey convicted him on 2 counts of misconduct. He's been remanded in custody and will be sentenced next month.
Yeah, Radio 5 is another
A
one.
van
Isn't it?
driver has been praised by police after giving a lift to an armed officer who was pursuing a man suspected
I mean,
of
we've
carrying
been on
out a
news
serious
for like
assault.
25
Our
minutes
correspondent
now.
Duncan
It's
Kennedy
mental,
sent this
isn't it?
report from Margate in Kent.
Tuesdays in Margate don't normally play out like this. Armed officers
Oh, Britney
recording
Spears,
on
it was
body-worn
Spears.
cameras are running
Courtney
after a
Ryman, yeah,
suspect.
got you.
But it looked like the alleged culprit was hot-footing it to freedom. That is,
George,
until a passing van driver
little head
stops
air conditioner. I bet
to
they
help the
sold out of
officer
that quick.
to carry on the chase. Running down here towards the viaduct.
That's weird, isn't it?
Get back, get back.
What do you? Yeah, so I've
Go,
got the
go, go,
lights.
go, go,
Put
go.
the yellow light on as well.
Some
Some orange now.
In the reverse of what usually happens in the movies, where the cop commandeers the car, this van driver was in full pursuit mode, happy to help the police chasing a man suspected of
Beer.
carrying out
I need to get a
serious
beer.
assault. If you just go past him, keep going past. Keep going
The
past.
low wave report.
Stop
Oh,
it,
long
I'm
wave
right.
switch off report. Okay.
Don't move. Put your hands in your head. The wheels of justice have rarely turned so fast. With chase over and arrest
Gavin's
made,
got
the officer
insider
thanks his
information.
obliging new recruit. Cheers for your help. No problem. Glad I can be of service. Cheers, buddy. We'll get on with doing the rest of it.
2 o'clock.
For your assistance.
Yeah, well, we're on to 1 and maybe a little bit beyond. We'll see. See how it goes.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Kent police say the van driver, who hasn't been named, should feel proud in what's clearly
Certainly
a
is
case of a
Pitco.
good Samaritan doing his bit to drive down crime.
So grab a beer. I need another
on
cold
day
one.
2 of the third and deciding test match of the series, England brought themselves back in contention against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. England took all 10 wickets for 121 runs to dismiss the tourists for a first innings total of 438.
Oh, in the store. I see what you're
The returning
saying.
captain Ben Stokes.
I see you were just stood in there getting cool,
England's
George, were you?
batsman Ben Duckett hit an 88
To be
ball
fair, where did
century
we
to
went
lead his
to
side
Waitrose
223
yesterday, and
for
that
two
was
at the close,
nice and cold.
trailing the tourists by 215 runs
Cold lager,
with 8
nice.
wickets in hand. Radio 4 broadcast on longwave will end in just over half an hour's time. The BBC began broadcasting on the frequency from its original transmitters in Daventry in Northamptonshire in 1925, before switching to a new transmitting station in Worcestershire. Our media correspondent David Sillito reports.
Ready for number 3? All ready. Right, let it go. 1934, the beginning of an engineering marvel.
Stand by to run up the high-tension machine.
The powerful long-wave transmitter masts at Droitwich, 213 metres high, along with 2 sister stations in Berghead and Westerglen in Scotland, ensured the BBC was a truly national service.
This is the national programme from London, radiated by the new long-wave transmitter at Droitwich.
beginning with Eric Coates' The Merrymakers. The BBC's new Droitwich service sent out a signal that travelled far out to sea and, for decades, delivered the shipping forecast.
Dover, Thames, Humber, Heligoland, East Dogger.
And that ability to travel far? In the Second World War, the long-wave signal was a way of communicating across Europe.
These are today's main events. Germany has invaded Poland and has bombed many towns.
And even sending coded messages to the French resistance. And in more recent years,
on 198 Longway,
allowed cricket-starved holidaymakers to follow Test Match Special
in the West Indies,
from the beaches of Brittany.
And join Jonathan Agnew.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to...
But 92 years on, the masts are showing their age. The elderly technology behind the service is drifting into obsolescence.
Lightning, that is.
Scan along Longwave these days, and most will only hear the slightly scratchy sound.
I just wonder if there's anyone at the top of
BBC Radio 4 on 198.
actually batting for Radio 4.
Which has been warning its few remaining listeners that things are coming to an end.
This service is closing. BBC transmissions on this frequency will end...
15 years after the announcement that investment in the service had come to an end, Arqiva, who operate the transmitter, which means that tonight, Radio 4 will be saying goodbye to Longwave.
Now for a look at the morning papers, and the Daily Telegraph reports that the former Cabinet Secretary Lord Case
broke up at the
has
end
called
for some
Randy
reason.
Burnham to be honest with the public, and if he becomes Prime Minister, call an early general election.
Kicking up.
Speaking to the paper, Lord Case adds that Mr Burnham is walking a very difficult tightrope because he had promised change but had no mandate to
I'm
deliver
going
it.
to get a top-up.
According to the Times,
I'll leave that going for you, all right?
to say the South is paying the price for economic failure in the North when he delivers a major
I'll be
speech
back.
on the economy next week. What the paper calls Mr Burnham's first big policy speech since Sir Keir Starmer's resignation, he's due to set out a strategy which would see Whitehall budgets slashed, money diverted to regional mayors. The Sun says that Prince Harry is to take his children to see his mother's grave for the first time during their trip to the UK next month. The visit is reportedly due to take place days after what would have been Princess Diana's 65th birthday. The headlines again. US forces have tonight hit targets near the Strait of Hormuz, saying the strikes were a response to an Iranian attack on a commercial ship in the strategically important waterway. Search and rescue efforts are ramping up in Venezuela, where two powerful earthquakes are confirmed to have killed more than 900 people. More than 50,000 others are feared missing. The UK has recorded the hottest ever June temperature for the third day in a row. President Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton has pleaded guilty to mishandling classified documents. Sir Keir Starmer has declined to sack the Immigration Minister Mike Tabb, despite being asked to do so by the Home Secretary. BBC News.
With Chris Aldridge. And now with a look at that all-important weather forecast. Good morning, Ben Rich.
Hello there. For the third consecutive day, Friday saw the UK provisionally breaking its UK June temperature record with a high of 37.3 Celsius at Santon Downham in Suffolk. Bournemouth in Dorset recorded 14.2 hours of sunshine, but it wasn't like that everywhere. There were some really big downpours and thunderstorms around, and at Lochrathdown in the Highlands, it recorded 51.2 millimetres of rain, over 2 inches of rain in the first 24 hours. All the way in the Western Isles,
I don't know why it's doing that.
Through this weekend, probably a relief for many, but in the short term, for Saturday, the Met Office still has an amber warning
Anyway,
of extreme
cheers, everybody.
heat. This covers parts of eastern and southeastern England, valid until 9 o'clock on Saturday. Now, through the rest of the night, across England and Wales, long clear spells. A few showers slipping into the southeast of England. Northern Ireland and Scotland seeing more in the way of clouds. And still some showers here, especially in the north of Scotland, where there will be some further thundery downpours. Overnight temperatures staying up around 20 or 21 degrees in the southeast corner, but a little cooler and fresher further north and west. England and Wales, a lot of dry weather, some sunny spells. Areas of cloud for some western coasts where it will also be quite breezy. And then late in the afternoon, we may see some thunderstorms just moving up from the English Channel into the southeast of England. Northern Ireland and Scotland. We'll see more in the way of cloud. Cloud producing some showery rain at times. Still the potential for the odd flash of lightning, the odd rumble of thunder. It will be fairly breezy. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally in the low 20s Celsius. England and Wales seeing highs of 25 to 32 degrees. The highest temperatures in the east, but it will turn pressure.
So that'll cool down a bit. It's so hot in here.
Some good news, Ben. Thank you so much, Ben Rich. And on Radio 4, we conclude our series, first broadcast in 2023, How to Stop Potential, with Kate Mason.
Whew. Yeah, that one's getting a bit warm, I think. Should be okay, but yeah, it's pretty hot because it's got a drop of resistor in it. It's baking hot. Shame, because that did so nice.
Sample questions. Oh no, this is difficult. Choose the word that is most nearly the opposite of commend. Comply, certify, criticise, prevail, dissuade. Oh, most nearly the opposite. God, I didn't read the question. I feel like that's quite bad, isn't it?
Commend, criticise. So answer. The correct answer is criticise. All right, should we just assume I get them all right? Oh my goodness! This is like a verbal. It's like a verbal and pictorial reasoning thing, isn't it? It's like one of those things you did at school. Two figures above share a common feature. One of the figures below does not share the same feature. Which figure below does not share this common feature?
We're on the super sovereign.
Oh, it's A. I can handle that. 20. Correct answer is 20. They've done some stuff about maths again. Question 7 of 7, thank God. Which of the figures below the line will replace the question mark following the sequence of figures showing? It's been a long day, potential spotters. I have absolutely no idea, but if I thought about it more carefully and wasn't on the radio, then I could probably figure it out. I'm just going to pick... Oh, God, I'm too competitive. Help. It doesn't say whether I'm good or not. But basically, there's a chart at the end that says if you do well on the answers, I think you're like a strong fit for the organisation, whatever the organisation would be.
Yeah, good radio, Clint.
Should I argue with these results? Unclear. How useful are they? They just made me feel quite good. They're not giving me a hard sense of something like, say, my blood cell count. Although one of them that I've looked at does basically say if I'm good at maths or not. Which I don't know.
I have one more Evolve radio that we could go and get to try. Do you want me to get it? Or are we going to finish it off with this one? Stan Tacker, what we're saying?
In this series, we found lots of different ways.
Do you think I should go and get another Volver?
Sport, music, education, and in work.
I've got time.
If you missed them,
it's only in the
bedroom.
Back and
list them by searching "How to Spot Potential" on BBC Sounds.
So there's phenomenal potential in the human
brain, interfering
and
with that.
The story of that potential is what opportunities you get. How do you get to grow your brain, develop your brain? Do you get to learn to read? Do you get to learn to speak those different languages? Do you get to learn to play a musical instrument? The potential is sort of dizzying.
Much of it is have some more homebrew.
Educational opportunities, to cultural scenarios, to how in many places in the world people are held back.
Get it.
But I have a sense overall that the world is not using in any way its full potential of the human brain, of the human body, etc. And that feels very sad at this point in time because we've got so many problems to solve.
In this last episode, I want to look into the future. And it's a tricky one. We seem to be at a point where big changes are happening in society that might contradict everything we've learned in this series about identifying and maximising potential. When considering human potential, we now need to ask, what is that potential for?
Nikki Garchea, chartered organisational psychologist. 20 years ago, if you asked me about potential as a psychologist, I might have talked to you about general intelligence, the capacity to be intelligent and therefore pass anything, do well. And that would be why people do well in things like the 11 plus. It's a score of general intelligence. Well, now with things like ChatGPT, it can do so much of those types of things, numerical testing, verbal reasoning testing. So if machines can do well in those activities, what does potential and what replaces that view of general intelligence? And it will be things like my capacity to analyse, my capacity to be creative, but coupled with empathy and influencing skills, things that we won't be able to, we won't be able to solely rely on automation to deliver.
Nikki is thinking about what the growth of technology means in the workplace and how it moves the goalposts.
This year, the World Economic Forum released data in relation to the business skills that we need to have alongside automation. And they were highlighting that at least 34% of all of the organisations they'd surveyed had an element of automation in roles. And in the next 5 years, it will go up to 42%. And if we've got 42% of many roles globally in the workplace having an element of automation, then potential will start to evolve. It's really the question of if the machine can release some potential in so many ways, what can the human do?
And what that machine realised human potential of the future might be, and how we get there, is also being considered much more widely, far beyond the world of work, across subjects as diverse as medical science, computer gaming, and space exploration.
I'm Ghislaine Boddington. I'm a reader in digital immersion at the School of Design at the University of Greenwich, and I also run the Creative Collective Body Data Space. At the moment, I'm looking at the augmentation of the body, potentially to support us through life, a kind of scenario where we have an ally or a companion or a co-worker working with us.
Ghislaine's investigations are part of global research, taking in both the practicalities and ethics of technological advances and thinking about how our potential could be augmented or realised in all manner of our lives through the creation of digital twins, computer-generated versions of ourselves.
The modelling of a digital human, a digital me, that would be there to work with me, to support me in different ways.
So are we thinking like a kind of like a demon in Northern Lights, where you've got a little animal companion who can talk to you about your emotions and various other things? Or are we talking about like a sort of digital slave that we can get to do things like the washing up? What sort of thing are we thinking about here?
The demon example is very good, actually, because we are talking here about something that would be with you all the time. And my concept is based on having a real-time virtual body interface that's with me from birth, grows up with me and learns about the world alongside me, advises and supports across many aspects of life. Could be mental health, could be supporting your work, fitness, etc. And actually collaborates with me on my work, on my social life. So it could be an avatar, it could be robotic or holographic, or all three. There are already many examples of this in different sectors. Digital human twin modelling for the medical sector is well advanced, and in the space sector too. But also we know it more on a day-to-day level. We know it in the fitness sector and obviously in the gaming sector.
So I have a Whoop, one of those things that tells you how you slept and how your heart rate is doing. So I'm imagining some sort of extremely developed version of that that's somehow also maybe listening to my thoughts and following along with what I'm doing day to day. Is that in any way realistic? And how creepy is it?
Well, the listening to your thoughts thing, Kate, is a really great one because I'm often in the shower going, oh, I should do that, or it'd be great to do that, or I should put that in that document. And of course, you're in the shower, so you can't do anything at all. So for me, definitely the ideas and the to-do list that come up in my head when I'm otherwise occupied and not able to be tapping into my phone would be wonderful if they were translated into those scenarios. However, that one's probably quite a way off. At the moment, it is about the aggregation of data that we do in the main already can collect, either through our own apps, like you were saying about sleep apps or fitness apps, or through more advanced apps that are being used by the medical sector and other sectors. I think there's also a sense of understanding now with the AI explosion that's happening into much more mass society of how helpful it would be and how it might make life a little bit less boring if there was an AI working with us to say, this email is urgent, forget this lot. Help with searching for things on your computer. Help with these very basic level tasks that we all spend hours doing, hours and hours, being pretty much robots on our computers, which actually can be done now by AI.
I could basically delegate stuff to it.
Exactly that. And hopefully through that, giving us more space and time to have much more original thinking time and solution creating time, which is where I think our brains are not being used to their full potential.
Sounds a bit Brave New World. But should we worry? Would those machines like us outstrip our potential? Well, science has some reassurance.
My name's Sophie Scott, and I'm a professor of cognitive neuroscience at University College London.
It looks like we're stuck with the hacker.
What I think of when I think of potential is human brains. And the reason
Sarah
why I
Jane,
think
how
about
are
human
you?
brains is they're kind of like a machine for potential. You've got 86 billion brain cells. They're what you're born with. You're born with almost all the brain cells you're ever going to have. You don't learn and change by growing new bits of your brain. You learn and change by remodeling the connections between those existing brain cells. And this is giving you a sort of a computer of extraordinary power. All computers have got a limit to how much memory they have. There's no known limit to human memory. There's no known limitation on the number of languages a human can learn to speak. The limitation is time. Human brains are unbelievably full of potential. It's also the case that there is substantial evidence for individual differences along lots of different parameters. Thinking about the language example, there's quite good evidence now that some people are really good at hearing differences in speech sounds from other languages. And other people are really good at learning to produce them, and they're not necessarily the same people. There's two different ways in which people vary. But that's only going to be found out if you have that opportunity. It's a case of both, I think, embracing and giving the potential to everybody to find out what their brains can do. And there might be something really particular, very special about your brain. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to find out about it.
Throughout this series, we've considered potential largely in young people, from spotting teenage sports stars or musicians to entering university and getting on the career ladder. But satisfyingly, Sophie says it's not all about them.
You are going to be better at learning a new language when you're a child, partly because you don't have to go out to work for a living, things like that, but also there does seem to be a sort of critical period for really getting good at speaking a new language, for example, at that age. But actually, although there's some individual variation, most people will be able to pick up a new language with time and with desire to do so throughout their whole lives. Your brain is plastic, it's flexible.
Human potential is boundless, not constrained by age.
Roberts.
Despite current concerns,
let's try it with the loop.
Killed off by technology. The search for potential is intertwined with what makes our lives interesting. It makes us curious and leads us to the question, what next? And while it might be an individual trait, it's also something that relies on others, those who give us a chance, see something in us, spot our potential.
How to Spot Potential was presented by Kate Mason. The producer was Julian Siddle. In a few moments here on Radio 4, the shipping forecast. Radio 4. Now, the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 0015 on Saturday, the 27th of June, 2026. The general synopsis at 1800. Low Malin,
Cheers, everybody.
1008. Expected Bailey, 993 by 1800 Saturday. New High, expected German Bite, 1016 by same time. The area forecast for the next 24 hours. Viking, north at Sierra, south at Sierra. Variable 2 to 4, becoming southerly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later.
It's nice,
Showers
isn't it?
and fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. 40s, Cromarty 4th. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Tyne, Dogger.
Beer showers.
Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5 later. Showers, thundery and Dogger, good, occasionally poor. Fisher. Variable 2 to 4, showers, thundery later with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor later. German Bite, Humber, Thames, Dover, White, Porter. Variable 2 to 4, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Plymouth. South veering southwest 3 to 5, showers, good, occasionally moderate. Biscay. Variable 2 to 4, becoming west 3 to 5 later, thundery showers, good, occasionally moderate.
Echo drop.
Trafalgar. West 2 to 4, veering northwest 3 to 5, showers, good. Fitzroy, Seoul. South southwest, veering west later, 4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally moderate.
So hot.
Lundy, Fastnet. South southwest, 4 to 6, showers, rain later, good, occasionally moderate. Irish Sea. Southerly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 and west. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Shannon. South 4 or 5, veering southwest 5 or 6, rain or showers, good, occasionally poor.
They still got that one, Sarah Jane, have they?
Cyclonic 4 to 6, becoming southwest 5 to 7 later, rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Malin, Hebrides. Cyclonic becoming south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor.
Mr. Bilbo.
Bailey. Southeast
Joe
becoming
Fennick, how you doing,
cyclonic
mate?
4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally poor. Fair Isle. East veering south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Faroes. East southeast 4 to 6, rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And southeast Iceland. Southerly backing easterly 4 to 6, becoming cyclonic 5 to 7 later. Perhaps gale 8 later in northwest. Occasional rain, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And now the weather reports from coastal stations for 2300. Tyree automatic, southeast 3.
I couldn't read that one out, Gavin.
Northeast 3, recent rain 4 miles at 10, falling. Lerwick. Northeast 3, 24 miles, 1,015, falling slowly. Wick automatic, east-southeast 3, recent fog, 3 miles, 1,014, falling more slowly. Aberdeen.
8 minutes.
Northeast by east 1, slight rain, 600 meters, 1,013, falling slowly. Lucas. East-northeast 3, 4 miles, 1,013, now rising. Boomer. Northeast by north 2, fog, 200 meters, 1,013, rising more slowly. Bridlington. West-northwest 2, 1,013, rising more slowly. Sandetti light vessel automatic. Southwest 6, 2 miles, 1,016. Greenwich light vessel automatic. South-southwest 3, 2 miles, 1,018. St. Catherine's Point automatic. West-northwest 1, 1,018, rising slowly. Jersey. Northeast 2, 16 miles, 1,018, now falling. Channel light vessel automatic. South by west 2, 1,019. Scilly automatic. south 4, mist. 4 miles, 1016, now falling. Milford Haven, south by west 3, 8 miles, 1016, steady. Aberporth, south by west 4, 27 miles, 1016, rising slowly. Valley, south-southwest 5, 9 miles, 1015, rising slowly. Liverpool Crosby, west 3, 14 miles, 1015, rising more slowly. Valencia, south by east 3, 22 miles, 1010, now falling. Ronald's Way, south 5, mist, 5 miles, 1013, rising slowly. Malin Head, east by south 2, 7 miles, 1007, falling. And Macrahanish Automatic, east-southeast 4, recent drizzle, 5 miles, 1010, rising slowly.
You got the SDR there, Joe.
And here's the weather forecast for the inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours, issued by the Met Office at 2300. The general situation: a strengthening southwesterly flow will affect northern and western waters on Saturday, while a slack and humid flow continues to affect waters elsewhere. During Sunday, a change to a westerly flow will spread fresher conditions eastwards across all parts. Cape Wrath to Rattray Head, including Orkney, east 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath, veering south, occasionally 6 near Rattray Head, then becoming variable 2 to 4 later. Rain or showers, perhaps thundery at first, with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Rattray Head to Berwick-upon-Tweed, variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 to 6, fog patches and drizzle at first, then showers, moderate or poor, occasionally very poor, becoming good.
5 minutes.
Berwick-upon-Tweed to Whitby, variable 2 to 4, becoming southeast 3 to 5, and veering south or southwest 2 to 4 later. Drizzle at first, then showers, moderate or poor, becoming good. Whitby to Gibraltar Point, variable 1 to 3, becoming south or southeast 2 to 4, occasionally 5 later. Showers, good, occasionally moderate at first. Gibraltar Point to North Foreland, variable becoming southerly or southeasterly later, 2 to 4, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. North Foreland to Selseyville, westerly 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, occasionally 4 later. Thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Selseyville to Lyme Regis, west 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, then southwest 2 to 4 later. Showers, thundery in east, fair later, moderate or good, occasionally poor in east. Lyme Regis to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly, variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5. Showers later, good, occasionally moderate. Land's End to St. David's Head, including the Bristol Channel, variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5. Occasionally 6 near Pembrokeshire. Showers later, good, occasionally moderate in west.
Thanks, David. Had to be done,
St. David's Head to Great Orme Head, including St. George's Channel, south 3 to 5, veering southwest 4 to 6. Showers, rain later, moderate or good. Great Orme Head to the Mull of Galloway, variable 2 to 4 at first in Liverpool Bay, otherwise southerly or southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 in north. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor at first in north. Isle of Man, southerly or southwesterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 later in west. Fog patches at first, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Loch Foyle to Carlingford Loch, southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in east. Showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Galloway to Mull of Kintyre, including the Firth of Clyde and North Channel, southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in North Channel. Showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Kintyre to Ardnamurchan Point, south or southeast 4 to 6. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor later.
Oh, you've got to stay to the end, Alex,
surely. To Cape Wrath, East to southeast 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath. Veering south to southwest 4 to 6. Rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And Shetland Isles, east 3 or 4, veering south to southeast 4 or 5. Occasional rain and fog patches, showers later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. And that completes the shipping forecast. Well, before we leave you tonight, I just wanted to take a moment to mark the end of an era. For almost a century, the long-wave transmitters have carried the BBC across the airwaves, from the iconic Droitwich transmitting station in Worcestershire to Westerglen and Birkhead in Scotland. Although the long-wave signal is fading into history this morning, the memories and the connection it created will endure forever. We shall miss your warmth and crackle. Well, that's it from me, Al Ryan, and all of us here at Broadcasting House. If you have been, thanks for listening. Have a safe, quiet, and peaceful night. Good night. Ihoa.
You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception.
Well, let's have a look, see if there's a carrier still. Well, there won't be a carrier because I am, isn't it? Fool.
You are listening to 198 kHz longwave.
Oh, looks like
BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception.
Still got the carrier, isn't it?
You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online.
Wow, there we are.
Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available
put it on till Tuesday, are they?
On 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz.
You wanted to use the frequency, and now there's a horrible loop. And what were you going to broadcast, Gavin?
Play Radio 4.
So yeah, big shame that, but there we are. It is done.
Found on the BBC website.
Was a bit, George, wasn't it?
bbc.co.uk/reception.
It's just going to keep going banging on and on and on
You
with
are
that, isn't it?
listening to
Yes, we are
198
listening to it.
kilohertz long wave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television.
Where's Radio 4 on FM then?
Radio 4 is also available on FM radio.
Attacks, people are facing fuel rationing and increased power blackouts. This is the world news from the BBC. President Trump has threatened to impose a 100% import tariff against any country that targets American tech companies with a digital services tax. The European Union has vowed to respond swiftly and decisively if Mr. Trump carries out his threat. Here's our technology reporter, Lily Jamali.
In a social media post, President Trump said numerous European countries had been discussing what he called the imminent implementation of a digital services tax. This is a tax on revenue earned by companies and would hit American tech giants like Amazon, Google, and Meta. Some already pay a tax on money they make abroad from their social media ads, data collection, and marketplaces run on their sites.
Don't forget to give it a thumbs up,
Mr. Trump warned he would impose a
already.
100% tariff on goods from any European country that introduces such a tax.
It's damn hot in here. I'm going to have to stick that. So I think we're back on the
United States
back on the super sovereign on FM now.
Company Anthropic to release its powerful Claude Mythos
so we still
5
got
AI model to what it described as trusted partners. 2 weeks ago, Washington ordered Anthropic not to allow anyone who was not American to use the model. This included the company's foreign staff.
So there is still a way to listen to Radio 4 on your radio, not on 198, but it could be if we did some modifications. But
said conditions for mutual respect no longer existed, and he
what have I
accused the
got
French
here?
government of ceaseless activism against Burkina Faso's national interest. In the Men's Football World Cup, the Group H games are getting underway shortly. Cape Verde meets Saudi Arabia in Houston, Texas, while Spain play Uruguay in Mexico. Victory for Cape Verde.
So there is a way. Now, I asked Derek, who makes a very nice AM modulators, if he could make one that worked on long wave, and he said he'd give it a go. Anyway,
You're listening to the news.
We have it.
BBC World Service with me, Pete Ross. We start in
BBC World Service now, that. So this runs on 224 kilohertz, so it's not 198, but, you know, could be tweaked maybe, I don't know. It's all done by this crystal and this IC here. But we can still transmit audio from whatever source you want into long wave if you use something like this. I think Derek is doing these. I don't know. I don't think Derek's in, is he? I think it is a mistake. It is a mistake. So yeah, it is. This is a long wave, basically what they call a pantry transmitter. It's very low power. It'll only sort of transmit on this bit of wire within a very narrow range, but it will allow you to plug this into, say, your mobile phone or radio, anything like that, and transmit out into long wave. What have we got here? So yeah, let's do a little experiment, shall we?
In all the places that we are seeing today. I mean, we literally see the floor open.
So you can see the bush behind. I've just switched that one back on a minute to let it warm back up.
Just to the south, in the capital Caracas, our Latin
we need a battery.
correspondent Will Grant
So let's put the battery in that one.
Where he used to live.
I'm standing on the very corner of my street, and only a matter of meters away is a completely flattened building. I used to walk past it every day. I lived 3 doors down.
Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 megahertz.
So I'm going to use this radio.
The situation's safe for rescue crews to try and go back in again.
So that's the news on World Service on BBC 4, Radio 4.
How to listen can
So I'm
be
going to plug
found on
this
the BBC
into the
website
headphone socket.
at bbc.co.uk/reception.
We'll drag that down over.
You are listening to 198 kilohertz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including 2 to 95
It's playing that, this radio. It's getting too hot, I think. I think this radio's a bit too close to it. Let's try it another way.
As for
you are listening to
Let's try it another way.
Kilohertz longwave. BBC Radio.
I might have a loose valve in that one. Might have to reseat the valves. That's what it sounds like.
Radio through your digital television, including freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 megahertz and 103 to 105 megahertz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website.
Plug this into my
bbc.co.uk/reception.
Oh, I've unplugged
You are
the
listening
thing,
to 198 kilohertz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find
Not
Radio
allowed
4
anymore.
many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 megahertz and 103 to 105 megahertz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website.
Okay, my hi-fi's decided it doesn't like the heat either now. Oh, it wouldn't do, would it? Of course it won't. Okay.
For joining us. First, tell us.
So that's Radio 4. So if we throw that over the top there, we should be able to.
However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC.
Get out.
On DAB digital radio.
Where is it? No, that's not it. Come on, where are you? $1,340 meters, so it should be around here. but it's not for some reason. Strange.
About this invented north-side observation in the stadium. I can tell you right now, there's going to be plenty
Okay.
what I'm seeing. And I think this is really what the World Cup is about. It doesn't arrive somewhere.
Let me just turn that down a bit.
It arrives in a city with its culture, with its politics, with its identity, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Organizers from Seattle, from the city of Seattle, have told us that these plans have been in place long before the draw put Egypt and Iran together. Of course, Muslim majority countries.
So we now have Radio 4
is illegal. They say that hasn't really changed anything, because even though they want to celebrate football, they want to celebrate the World Cup and the fact that they're hosting this major event. They also want to celebrate the city and its identity. And from what I'm seeing right now, this is all happening and converging on the stadium in front of me.
Sean, before the World Cup, there was a lot made about Iran even being there to play this game with Egypt today. They're, of course, now based in Mexico, and they have to fly in specifically for their games. They've had some issues with their visa.
So that's pretty good, isn't it?
After the last game that they had to leave very quickly and not getting the correct amount of time to prepare. We understand now that
that has changed for the Seattle game. They were allowed, for the first time in their 3 games, to arrive 48 hours before the actual match.
We're on long wave.
And this is after their
BBC Radio Devon.
They won the 2010 World Cup, and that starting team from that game 16 years ago, only one player didn't represent Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Come on,
one
focus
now. Villarreal. Now there's 7 different teams represented in this Spanish squad in today's starting lineup. Rodri tries to pirouette and tackled by Manuel Ugarte.
Hot FM. BBC Radio 1. Classic FM.
Yeah, it was all.
Military has conducted strikes on Iranian targets in the last few hours. The move comes after President Trump accused Tehran.
What I'm trying to say is, don't throw your old radios away, because you don't need to.
Attack on a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. No casualties were reported when the ship was struck by a drone.
So we are now broadcasting Radio 4 onto long wave.
We've had a statement from the US Central Command
using this
powerful response
clever little device. So that's plugged into my radio there. It's plugged into my hi-fi.
Coastal radar site. It says it's just
and it's being retransmitted out through this wire onto the bush.
Vessel, which it describes as an Iranian act of unwarranted aggression, and it says that US military forces are going to remain.
So there you are. No need to do it. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, hit the button. There's nothing to stop you. You need to purchase one. If you drop me an email, Clint, I'll put you in touch with Derek that makes them, mate. So it will let you use longwave still. And it means you can still test your radios. Yes, come on, focus. Come on, you can do it. No, I think there's too much heat for the cameras even in here. Come on. There he is. Thanks, Rob. I believe it is, Anthony, yeah. I think the problem was I had this rested on my bottle opener and it didn't like it. That's why it wasn't working. I think I was shorting out the diode. put your Atlantic 252 Spotify playlist out on 252 kilohertz. Yeah, you could do. Ah, that's the point. Yeah, let's get that aircon. I'm starting to sweat now. Wow. Oh, that's so nice. Immediate comfort. Oh. It is for long wave, ENF, and welcome to, no, sorry, couldn't make it earlier. See if I can get it on the overhead camera for you. We'll have a look then. I think the overhead is working. Let's take the battery off. Let's put the light on in a minute. So there. Strange. It's the side of a bush. Okay. So that's the boy. That light's blowing it out. It's just reflecting straight back off it. Put this light back on now, can't I? No. So that's the little transmitter that I was using. So you've not got a lot of connections. You've got power here, which is a 9-volt EP3. That's your power. You've got your headphone socket. So that's a stereo to stereo cable. So whatever you want to plug in there. And this is your antenna. Yeah. Now, if you want to get it ultra quiet, you can put a ground on it as well. So you could run that out to a ground spike, something like that. That would give you probably more range and a better signal. But yeah, there you are. Now this was a bit of an experiment for Derek, but I believe he can actually do those now. It's probably Derek's selling them, isn't it? Hacker Hunt is very nice, you know. John R, how you doing, mate? Still Radio 5 live and talk sport on Media Wave coming from Droitwich. Yeah, there is already talk of Radio 5 live shutting, I believe, John. Welcome as well, mate. Thanks for joining us. Let's have a look and see if we can find Derek. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure if let me see if I spelled that right. Yeah, see, there's a China one with a no 21 meg student experiments, they call it. Just trying to see where it would be. Yeah, I'm not sure if Derek's actually got any on eBay at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure if Derek's actually got any on eBay at the moment. Yeah, I can't see any. I can't see a current listing on there. Unless I'm looking at the wrong place. Yeah, just drop me an email. I'll point you in the right direction. Just looking to see now if Derek has got any listings on here. No, I can't see. I can't see anything there from Derek, but it might be that he's just not got any made at the moment. See if Derek in mind. Just drop me an email. Drop me an email to that address. Drop me an email to that address and I will send it on to Derek for you. The net is closing. A closing Red Roof transmitter site as well, Leslie. Flipping heck. Manx, yeah. So yeah, you don't need to give up on them. You can still use them, so don't worry about it. A Bluetooth long wave transmitter on 200 kilohertz. Drop a link in then, Aaron. Pop a link on there, mate. It doesn't, Anthony, no. I've got a Hurricane here somewhere. Where's the Hurricane? I don't think it does. So, this is the Hurricane transmitter. It's a commercial one. That does do Bluetooth. I think it's medium wave only. I can't remember. You'll need to bring a spec, so I'll get the specs up on it. I've also got the Spitfire, and I've also got the one that Les let me have, which was brilliant. The S-Trans. Great bit of kit. It's doing some weird stuff again. Come on, focus. Yeah. I think the cameras are getting too hot, you know, it's crazy, isn't it? Madness. It's auto focus, but it's maybe because the lights doing weird stuff as well. Yeah, lights turned down because I turned it off. That's better. Yeah, the SS Tron is good. Yeah, you need to bring the specs up. So this is 6v6.co.uk. Nice chap. Intelligent AM transmitter. Oh, I didn't know it had an app available with it. Frequency ranges 520 to 1730, medium wave. So it is medium wave. It ain't cheap though, people. It isn't cheap. So if you look at the UK version, you've got no Bluetooth at 109 with BLE audio 124 with BLE audio plus remote 139.95. I haven't done a review on it yet. I bought it to do a review on it and I never got round to it. So it looks like they're doing a 5 to 15 watt transmitter. Now we're talking, look. That is again, it's got a frequency, it's got an extended frequency range as well. Interesting. Shot Spitfire. They're still doing the Spitfire. I've got one of these as well. Let's say anything about that. Yeah, still medium wave, look. Still medium wave. Tornado. Mosquito. Mosquito. So they're offering yeah. You're looking at some pretty much medium wave there, aren't you? And top band for EU US. So there you are, 6v6.co.uk if you're interested in that. Interesting stuff, isn't it? I could have Radio Graham. Yeah. Yes. Cruncher 252. Yeah, no worries, Aaron. The aerial is usually just a length of wire that you just drape over the radio. It's nothing fantastic. I say they do sell a 15-watt version of that transmitter. You could do a little bit of a neighborhood station, couldn't you? 198 is available soon, is it? Can I do traffic and travel on Cruncher 252? Yes, of course you can, Gavin. I'll give you the script every day. So, yeah. Yes, I have got something experimental here to have a little play with as well. So, that doesn't do long wave, though. Well, there you are, people. I'm cooled back down again now, thanks to that aircon. That does the job pretty sharpish. When I went downstairs and got my drink just now, it's really cool down there, but it's baking hot in this room. Mad. Burritos. Sounds like my aircon's having a wee now. But I think the water needs emptying from it. Well, there you are, people. I'm going to call it a day at that because it's now 1:30. We've got no worries, Clint. I'll pass that on to Derek for you, mate. We'll get you sorted. There was nothing wrong with Derek's one, Aaron. There's nothing wrong with Derek's. I think you'll find that Derek's won't attract any eBay fees either, you see? Even better. Unless that is Derek. I mean, he hasn't said that he's done anything fancy. No, that's Microphonics, isn't it? Yeah, so this is the two that Aaron's referring to, these here. Bluetooth and line input. Vintage receivers. In one basket. Long wave 200 kilohertz. Yeah, that's definitely not Derek, though. I don't know, Bluetooth? You've got to be careful with AM because you can easily push some noise into it and make it fairly unusable. 99.9 positive. So someone's saying exactly as described, long wave transmitter. I don't know. I mean, the one I've got works very well. I don't know what Derek charges, but that's not expensive, really, is it? In the grand scheme of things. What's this one here? What's the difference? Bluetooth and line in. Okay, it's what the other one just Bluetooth, is it? Okay, yeah, that's just Bluetooth. That's Bluetooth and line in. I mean, I've got Bluetooth in the Hurricane, and I don't think it works that great. Just my opinion. I mean, it's not something I would use. I'd rather use the line input. So I would say possibly steer clear of this one. If you're going to go down that route, I would get the one with a line input so you can physically plug something into it. I think this might generate a bit of noise. I don't know. I know it's quite a popular module, that. I think. Is that similar to one that Manuel uses? Basically just a little Bluetooth board, that is. With the area was that little track there. Don't know, but yeah, I would get one with the input because then you can plug it into whatever you want. You know, my hi-fi has not got Bluetooth, so that would be useless for me. I could Bluetooth it from my phone, but then you get all the other nonsense comes through your phone that interrupts the signal. So yeah, it's a nice little thing to have, but I would go with this one that's got the audio in as well, if you're going to do it. There you go. So that's me done. Hope you've enjoyed that today. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you would. If you're not subscribed, then just hit that button. It don't take a second. It helps me, helps the channel grow. You know, one day I could do this full time. You never know. Unlikely, but it's potentially possible. So thanks for joining me today. Like Gavin says, it is sad to hear it go. It's nice to see it out live. I did want to do that, so I'm pretty knackered, but there you go. I'm not sure what's happening Sunday. I may or may not come on. It really depends on what we're up to, because we've both got a few days off, so we might go out somewhere. So, but you know, you've had me today, a little bonus one. So I'll see you potentially Sunday, but it's unlikely, but it might happen. You never know. So thanks again. Bye for now.